You felt it before you could name it. That moment when the air in a room shifted, and everyone else kept talking, kept laughing, kept going, but you froze. Because something was wrong. You could feel it in your chest before it showed on anyone's face. You've always been able to do that. Read people, sense things, know without being told. And for the longest time, you believed that made you special. Maybe even lucky. But here you are, tired in a way that no one around you seems to understand. Not sleepy tired, not lazy tired, the kind of tired that lives behind your eyes. The kind that follows you into weekends and vacations and quiet Sunday mornings that should feel peaceful but somehow don't. Something is draining you, and it has been for a long time. What I'm about to tell you, most people will never hear, because most people don't have the kind of mind you have. And most people don't pay the price you're paying. Stay with me. Because by the end of this, you're going to understand yourself in a way you never have before. There is a kind of intelligence that doesn't show up on any test. It wasn't built in a classroom. It wasn't celebrated or rewarded. It was built in silence, in tension, in the specific kind of childhood where you had to learn, fast, how to read a room, how to feel the temperature of someone's mood before they spoke, how to make yourself useful or invisible or perfectly agreeable, whatever the moment required to keep things safe. Psychologists call it hypervigilance. But that word is too cold for what it actually is. What it actually is brilliance forged in survival. Your mind became a finely tuned instrument, precise, sensitive, always scanning, always one step ahead. The tragedy is that instruments like that were never meant to run forever, and yours has been running, without pause, without rest, without mercy, for years. You don't just overthink. You overfeel, overanalyze, overanticipate, all at once, all the time, automatically. A text message arrives, and before you respond, you've already considered 7 possible interpretations of what it means. A conversation ends, and 3 hours later, you're still inside it, replaying a sentence, questioning a tone, wondering if you said the wrong thing. This isn't anxiety in the ordinary sense. This is a nervous system that was trained, by experience, by necessity, to think 3 steps ahead, because 3 steps ahead was where the danger used to live. You learned to be fast, to be thorough, to never be caught off guard, and that made you exceptionally perceptive. But it also means your mind has never fully learned how to stop. You feel other people's emotions as if they belong to you. Someone across the room is upset. You haven't spoken to them, they haven't said a word, and something in your chest tightens. Someone is disappointed in you. Or maybe they're not. Maybe you only imagined it, and your entire inner world tilts sideways. You absorb moods the way dry earth absorbs rain, completely, instantly. This is extraordinary. It makes you the person people call at 2 a.m., the friend who notices, the partner who remembers everything that matters. But here is what no one tells you about that gift. You have been carrying feelings that were never yours, for years. And after a while, you can't tell anymore which pain belongs to you and which pain you simply picked up somewhere along the way and never put back down. Rest doesn't restore you. You sleep and wake up tired. You take a day off and spend it mentally working. You sit in silence and your mind fills the silence with noise, reviewing, rehearsing, worrying, planning. Because real rest requires safety. It requires a nervous system that believes, even for an hour, that it is allowed to stop watching. And for you, that kind of safety has been rare. Think about what that means. Truly sit with it. You have been exhausted at a level that goes beyond what most people can see or understand for a very long time. Not because you're weak, because you have been working harder than anyone around you, on the inside, every single day. You take care of everyone. And quietly, almost invisibly, you neglect yourself. You remember how your friend takes their coffee. You notice when someone's smile doesn't reach their eyes. You show up, you check in, you give. But when someone asks what you need, you pause, you hesitate. Sometimes the honest answer is, I don't know, because your own needs got quieter and quieter over the years until they became a language you forgot how to speak. This is not selflessness. This is something older and more painful than that. Somewhere early, maybe so early you can't even point to when, you learned that your needs were inconvenient, too much, unsafe to express, so you became fluent in everyone else's language, and you let your own go silent. You cannot fully trust good things, When something goes right, a relationship, a moment of peace, a stretch of days that feel almost okay, there is a part of you always waiting for it to end. Not because you are negative, not because you don't deserve happiness, but because your nervous system learned, through lived experience, that good things are temporary and disruption arrives without warning. So even in your softest, most beautiful moments, part of you is not there. Part of you is on the roof, watching the horizon, waiting for the storm. You survive the hard times with extraordinary grace, and you half live the good ones. That is one of the quietest, most heartbreaking costs of what you carry. You people please. But not the way people joke about online. Yours is not about wanting to be liked. It runs deeper than that. It is about managing safety. The moment you sense tension rising, in a room, in a relationship, in a silence that lasts a beat too long, something in you moves immediately to fix it, to smooth it, to say the right thing, take up less space, bend just enough that the discomfort dissolves. This was wisdom once. In a world where other people's moods determined how safe you were, learning to manage those moods was the smartest thing you could have done. But you are not in that world anymore. And the child who built that reflex, they are still running it, every day, in situations that are no longer dangerous, with people who are not a threat. The body hasn't gotten the memo yet. You apologize for existing. Not always in words, sometimes in posture, in how quickly you shrink when someone seems bothered, in the way you say sorry before anyone has even indicated there's something to be sorry for. You preempt disapproval. You make yourself smaller before someone asks you to. This cost you something. It cost you the quiet dignity of knowing, in your bones, not just in your head, that your presence is not a burden, that you are allowed to take up space, that you do not need to earn the right to be in the room. Silence unravels you, not because you can't be alone, but because silence is where your mind writes its darkest stories. Someone goes quiet and you assume you did something wrong. A conversation ends abruptly and you spend the rest of the day inside it, looking for what you said that ruined everything. You are so skilled at reading signals, you have been reading them your whole life, that in the absence of signals, you manufacture them. And the stories your mind tells in the silence are almost never kind. You hold yourself to a standard you would never apply to anyone you love. You forgive others with open hands. But yourself gets a trial. Every mistake examined, every failure cataloged. You remember the things you got wrong years ago with a sharpness you've never applied to the things you got right. And underneath all of that, quiet, stubborn, deeply embedded, is a belief that was placed inside you long before you were old enough to question it. That love is conditional, that belonging must be earned, that you are acceptable only when you are performing, being useful, being easy, being enough. You did not choose that belief. It was given to you by an environment that asked too much too early, but you have been living inside it ever since. You underestimate yourself consistently, completely. You look at everything you have survived, the things you have understood, carried, felt, absorbed, processed, navigated, and somehow you have decided that you are ordinary. But there is nothing ordinary about a mind like yours. The depth at which you perceive people, the precision of your empathy, the way you can walk into a room and know within seconds exactly what is happening beneath the surface. The resilience of a nervous system that has been under pressure for years and still keeps going. These are not small things, they are extraordinary things, and they are costing you everything. Here is what I need you to hear now. Everything you just recognized, the overthinking, the hypervigilance, the people-pleasing, the inability to rest, the apologizing, the silence-filling, the impossible standards, none of it is a flaw, not one piece of it. It is a map, a detailed, precise map of exactly how intelligent you were as a child in an environment that required you to be. You built an entire architecture of survival. You built it fast, and you built it well, and it worked. It kept you safe when safe was hard to find, but you are still living inside that architecture, long after the emergency ended, long after the danger passed. And now the walls that protected you are the walls keeping you from rest. Healing, for someone like you, does not look like becoming a different person. It does not mean feeling less, perceiving less, caring less. It means slowly, imperfectly, non-linearly, teaching your nervous system something it has never fully believed, that you are safe now, that you are allowed to stop scanning, that your value is not a performance. It is not contingent on how well you manage other people's emotions, or how small you can make yourself, or how little space you dare to occupy. You are allowed to need things, to say so out loud, to receive care with the same openness you give it. You are allowed to rest, actually rest, without the guilt and without the noise. Some days this will feel impossible. Some days the old programming will be louder than everything you now understand. That's okay. Rewiring a nervous system that has been in survival mode for years is not something that happens in a single moment of clarity. It happens in small, quiet, almost invisible moments. The moment you catch yourself apologizing and decide not to. The moment you sit in silence and let it be silence instead of a threat. The moment you ask for something you need and do not immediately take it back. These moments will feel strange, unfamiliar. Let them. Unfamiliar is not the same as wrong. There is a version of you, not far from here, not a different person, who carries this intelligence without being crushed by it, who feels deeply without drowning, who sees everything without having to fix everything, who knows that the room will be okay without them managing it, who rests, who receives, who stays. That version of you is not something you have to become. It is something you have to return to. It has been there since before the world taught you to be afraid. Since before you learned that love was something you had to earn, and safety was something you had to maintain, and rest was something you had to deserve. You were never broken. You were just brilliant in the specific way that survival requires. And now, slowly, it is time to use that same brilliance for something new, for yourself, for the life that has been waiting quietly on the other side of all this exhaustion. You've carried enough. It's time to put it down.